That is so crazy. What they should have been fucking literally screaming from the rooftops every single damn day about how insane it is that Republicans are literally sending bomb threats to a Republican district in Springfield, Ohio, because Donald Trump and J.D. Vance lied about Haitians eating cats and dogs, an objectively racist depiction of documented migrants living on U.S. soil and participating in the American economy in meaningful ways. I am losing my fucking mind. That's not enough. They should have been saying it way more. Because if they were saying it way more, more people would write about it in the news. More people would read about it in the news. Commentators have the capacity to change people's opinions a little bit, especially if there is a shit ton, of media movement on this process. Republicans do a very good job with this. They laser in on a non-issue and turn it into a major issue all the fucking time, especially when it's electorally beneficial for them. Democrats never do this. Democrats literally sit around and wait for a fucking issue to drop on their laps, and even then they still flub it. But the broader context is Trump gaining with non-white voters as he promises mass deportation and Democrats having to concede ground in response. Part of that reason is because there is no counter narrative against the undocumented migrant problem. It is not a problem at all. As material conditions worsen, Americans become more reactionary. Okay? On the one hand, the Democratic Party is supposed to advocate to solve these material problems that the American working class is experiencing. And on the other hand, communicate that these people are not any different than you. But they're not doing that. And that's how we are going towards Nazi Germany. I don't know how people don't see this. You have to be fucking delusional not to recognize this, okay? Economic instability and economic volatility turns people into fucking angry demons. And if there's only one party that's saying, I see you, I know why you're mad, and I can tell you exactly what the reason is, it's the people that don't speak your language. They're scary. You're going to go, okay, well, I agree with you. Yeah, I am angry. You are recognizing that I'm angry. If the other party is saying, no, everything is fine, actually. Everything is fine. You just want a $50,000 tax credit for your fucking startup, for your startup podcast. We're going to do the opportunity economy. You're going to turn around and be like, fuck you. Fuck you. Suck my dick. No, I believe that other guy. That other guy at least recognizes that I'm mad. Yeah, he's right. I think it is the Haitian migrants, actually. That's how it works. That is precisely how this shit works. The problem, on the other hand, is that a lot of people just broadly fucking gesture towards like this is the argument I make for trans rights all the time. Most people just by and large don't care, okay? Republicans do a very good job of making you care in a negative way. But that oftentimes also causes a lot of people to go, ugh, you're kind of gross. Why do you care about this so much? You seem a little crazy. That's basically what happened in the 2022 midterm elections. The trans panic stuff came across as weird to the, average voter, to the normal voters. But that does not mean that, like, if the Democratic Party was, like, exclusively running on, like, defending trans rights or whatever, that most Americans would be like, this is great. Because by the numbers, there aren't that many trans people. People don't have access to trans people. People don't see the humanity in trans people. Every trans person understands this. So the way to convincingly defend trans rights is to say, we have a broad agenda that is human focused. We do not want you to hate your neighbors, okay? Doesn't matter what their background is. It is unacceptable to do so. And we're going to give everybody health care, and everybody includes trans people as well. That's the way to do it, with fiscally progressive economic policies that you tack on social liberalism into, not the other way around. I'm a centrist. I believe in policies the majority of America supports, like single payer, many more gun restrictions, a carbon tax on oil companies, high access to abortions, higher taxes on the rich, and so on. All majorities support, all definitionally centrist positions. Exactly. That's what's funny about this process, is that, like, Fango Lives is correct. Those are majoritarian positions, okay? And yet none of these things are represented by the Democratic Party, and they're not represented by the Republican Party either. The Democratic Party is presenting a false narrative that there is a reasonable voter in the middle there that wants, like, the Republican Party's positions, but just, like, a little bit less than that. I think that Harris is doing the right thing, drifting more right at the start of the election. The left voters are cemented. She needs to collect the center. Yeah, that's not true. but it doesn't matter because you're going to repeat that. Whether the Democrats win, you're going to repeat that. Whether the Democrats lose, you're going to repeat that. What a lot of people fail to recognize in the dynamic American median voter's mind is that there are incredibly contradictory things that they believe. Oftentimes, things that are directly at odds with one another. What you are supposed to do as a good campaign is identify what some of these top issues are, top 5 issues are. It's not black and white. There's a gray area in between. Yes, dude, it is. But that doesn't benefit what you're saying. That is the argument I'm making. It's not black and white. That is the reason why you have this insane thing where QAnon supporters will be like, I'm anti-big corporation. I'm anti-big pharma. And also, that's why I'm voting for the Republican Party to deregulate businesses. American voters are pretty fucking dumb. And what you fail to recognize is that the center is not directly in the center of all issues. The center doesn't mean, oh, I actually want, 30% less Holocaust on the migrant population. That, like, no one votes like that. There are a bunch of different things that they hear on their day-to-day, and they pick up on it, and they go, okay, well, this person actually represents this interest that I have, so I'm going to vote for them. That's how it works. A lot of people are stupid enough to think that, like, every American voter is literally making an accurate assessment and going, you know what? I'm glad that the Kamala Harris campaign is triangulating to the center on the issue of immigration. I really do think personally that, we should build concentration camps just 30% less. I don't want mass deportation. I want pretty high levels of deportation. No one thinks that way. The median voter or the average American ultimately thinks both at the same time that there should be mass deportations by 60%, but also that mass amnesty should be delivered to Americans that have been working on U.S. soil for years and years. Former Illinois Rep. Joe Walsh, a Republican who's campaigned in a swing state for Harris, said the voters he met were interested in defending democracy and didn't have many other litmus tests. Promising to be a conventional president who governs for everyone may be enough. Okay, if that's the case, well, she's definitely going to defend democracy. Now she can actually fucking advocate for more progressive policies then. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't seem like these guys only care about that, do they? Because if they only cared about that, then they wouldn't also say, if you don't fucking do all of this stuff, if you don't become the gay version of the Republican Party, we will literally not vote for you ever. Seems like they don't give a shit about the defending democracy angle all that much. It's about who you take for granted in terms of voters and who you don't, who you are willing to cast aside. Kamala Harris's campaign has actively made the choice to cast aside any kind of fucking progressive base of support. But it is unfair to simply call this the progressive base of support. And I don't like the framing on this article by friend of the show, Dave Weigel, for that reason. Because it's not just the progressive base of support that find these policies popular. Okay, that is precisely the reason why you see incredibly progressive ballot initiatives win by larger percentages than whoever the fucking state swings for in the general election always. Okay, that's it. People slap on the progressive sticker and say, oh, you just want a fucking pony. You want a unicorn. You want everything. Blah, 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 blah. We can never get this stuff. You're so stupid on issues that pertain to the real material problems that most Americans face. Okay? This is why I always go back to the one thing that Kamala Harris, either on accident or deliberately, landed on that was objectively considered radical by the media and yet was very popular. Price gouging. I am going to fight against corporate price gouging in the grocery sector. 83% popularity rating on that point, regardless of the litany of attacks launched against it. Why? Because Americans see the fucking prices of eggs and go, that's unacceptable, dog. That's it. The lesson you have to learn from that is that this is not about the progressive wing or the progressive base of the party. This is about the party being objectively popular across the board. That's it. She has made things easier. She's not a crazy lefty. She's been inclusive. Her convention speech was Reagan-esque in many ways, said Walsh. Also, that manufactured interest in social issues they don't care about is only possible when no left-wing economic policy is even proposed. Yes, it has no traction when universalist safety nets policies are actually the other side of the conversation. Thank you. That's the other side of the equation that we often forget. You are absolutely correct. What do I always say? Another thing that I repeat myself over and over again when the election cycle happens is that if Democrats gave Republicans something to fight against, like universal and otherwise progressive, but like universal social safety nets, okay, beefing up our social safety nets, then the Republicans would have to present themselves in the least popular ways possible by actively fighting against social safety nets like Social Security and shit. That's objectively unpopular. But the Democrats don't even fucking do that. Hasan, I think you're missing a key component in this. Big donors. Corporations don't want Trump because of volatility, but they will not fund Kamala if she goes too far left. That is the real reason for the center-right position, in my opinion. Don't agree with all of that at all, though. Yes, no, you're absolutely right. No, that is the reason. Both parties care about their corporate benefactors more. Republicans get to hammer on the culture war narratives and the culture war issues that they can laser in on that don't disrupt the regular order of business in terms of their deregulatory agenda, in terms of their tax cut agenda, which benefits major corporations and the super wealthy, right? The Democrats, on the other hand, have to set up a counter against the Republicans. They have to turn around and act like they are actually against a lot of the things that the Republicans are openly for. This presents a problem for them, however, because they can't literally be like, no, we're the same as the Republicans, we're just gay. If they openly say that, then people are going to be like, all right, well, then I'm voting for the Republicans then. But that is precisely what's going on with the Democratic Party. The reason why the Democratic Party does that, however, is that they create a sense of stability that the Republican Party has lost in the eyes of the corporate benefactors, or at least some key sectors that care about that sort of thing. That's why, when it comes to oil and gas giants, they are deeply invested in the Republican Party. But some of these other industries are more invested in the Democratic Party. But ultimately, they all align when it comes to never increasing wages, never bettering the environment for labor and union participation. They're all on board regardless of whichever side they land on in terms of who they are voting for or who they're giving money for. Who they're giving money to, sorry. Texas GOP Latino outreach is now national, okay? It is the Republican Party's national outreach. That's why you're seeing the Hispanic voting bloc swing towards the Republicans in very meaningful ways. You have to understand something here. A lot of people just go, what the fuck? Why are these Latinos like voting for Donald Trump when he says like they're rapists and drug dealers? They don't see themselves as that. They see themselves as documented American citizens. They see themselves in a different capacity as the Hispanic population in the United States of America firmly gets billed under the white banner, and this is already happening in this country, while the Democratic Party simultaneously does not address any of the material circumstances that Latino voters historically respond to in a positive manner, in Texas especially, okay? Especially young Latinos, respond very positively to to fiscally progressive policies, okay? Not even just young Latino voters, actually. Old Latino voters also outcompete every other voting bloc, every other demographic in terms of their analysis on bigger government initiatives, which is the most reactionary fucking framing you can slap onto this. Like, they want social safety nets. If the Democratic Party does not do that and then does not present that to them, then they're not really presenting anything to them. And then the Republican Party can turn around and beef up the Catholicism angle. The Republican Party can turn around and say, guess what, dude? These guys don't want to do anything except for transing your youth, okay? They want to fucking make your children gay and transgender. They want to fucking do bottom surgery on your youth. And especially if you are a low information voter, especially if you are, if you fit the bill of an underserved community that historically does not have higher levels of educational attainment, you are more susceptible to that sort of misinformation. So obviously, that has been profoundly fucking successful in Texas a state that is firmly Republican that has a shit ton of Latino voters. The Republican Party saw that and they realized like, oh, dude, this like all this anti-immigrant sentiment doesn't actually work against us, especially if we at least still identify some of the things that Latino voters care about. Okay, social conservatism. So then they use the social conservatism angle as a way to win over Latino voters. That's it. That's how it works. And I've been talking about this for fucking years, dude. I've been talking about this for years. Democrats' advantage with Latino voters continue to shrink. Harris leads Trump nationally among Latinos 54% to 40%, but Democrats' edge is at its lowest level in the last four presidential cycles. What ends up happening is the Latino voters that are younger, that do care about immigration, that don't want the dehumanizing language, see it from the Democratic Party as well. They get frustrated. They're like, I don't want to fucking vote for this. And the other group of Latino voters that are maybe older, especially a little bit more socially conservative, look to the Republican Party and say, well, they're saving us. They're giving us the things that we want. The Democrats are not giving us anything. I don't care about the social progressive shit. I would still vote for the Democratic Party if the Democratic Party at least defended my material interests, but they're not doing that. So I'm just going to vote for the Republican Party. This is something that I always talk about. People vote for people that give them something, okay? The expectation that you're always going to be in a defensive posture when you're voting is only going to shrink your base of support year over year, and that's precisely what the Democrats rely on. It is a very stupid way to try and win elections. You cannot specifically use the duopoly to your benefit like this every election cycle and hope for the best possible results, unless you lose. And then people remember how fucking shitty it is when Republicans are in power, and then they fucking turn around and vote for you. And that's precisely what happened with Donald Trump in 2016. But people have a short memory. They have forgotten how shitty it was for the Republicans to be in charge. One major thing that the Democrats could have used in the Haitians are eating cats and dogs narrative that was going on is the arrogant and entitled way in which some of the dumbest, most racist fucking assholes in society were screaming from the fucking rooftops despite the fact that they were wrong. That is a immediate reminder for everyone what it was like when Trump was president. Okay? That's it. You could just point to that. You could point to abortion. You could be like, look, remember, this is what happens when Republicans fucking win. Okay, they push these policies. Many people think, oh, I want these policies. You can use abortion as a argument for immigration, for being pro-immigration and being anti-Republican immigration strategy. You could be like, a lot of people think that they want this, but when it happens, they don't want it. They think it's brutal. They think it's barbaric. Okay? That's it. Because a lot of Americans are like, oh, mass deportation now. Mass deportation now. I love mass deportation. I think it's fine. What? I think it's fine if the U.S. is making their border policy more rigid. There's a serious underground economy trafficking migrants around the Americas to both the U.S. and other countries in Latin America. What? I think there's a real angle about illegal immigration that you missed. There's a real underground. The migrants aren't themselves the problem. The people who are moving them are. Yeah, dude, how do you fucking fix that? You fix that by fucking streamlining the process of migration, not by fucking making a rigid border. Literally think about this a little bit, okay? Greg Kazar talks about this so perfectly, okay? He's right. Hardline, rigid approach to fucking border policies benefits the cartel. If you want to stop the flow of human trafficking, you have to serialize and process migrants better. You have to fix the fucking migrant process. People that have no other options that need to come into the United States of America that are escaping violence are going to take any measure they can. Prohibition of alcohol did not work. It was an unsuccessful policy. Demonstrably, it just creates a black market. If you want to eviscerate the black market, you have to make it safer and easier for people to fucking come into the United States of America. I'm from South America, dog. The migrants are the victims here. I don't give a fuck where you're from, dumbass. It doesn't matter. You're still stupid on this point, okay? It's so frustrating when people just do standpoint theory to me. Like, oh, dude, I'm sorry. You're from South America, so I guess I should just let you fucking make an idiotic proposition here. You're pointing to a real problem, a problem that I also understand exists. I'm telling you what the solution is, and you're like, nah, it's better if the Democrats actually go along with the Republican agenda that is born out of white supremacy that dehumanizes you anyway. Like, what do you mean? I don't care about this shit. I've never cared about this. Just so you understand, this stuff doesn't work in this liberal community, okay? Maybe in other liberal communities, you could do standpoint theory. You could turn around and be like, listen, you don't understand. I'm Latino. I'm from South America, okay? How dare you speak to me like this? This is not one of those communities. Plenty of people come in here and they're like, well, Hasan, I'm a black person and it's really inappropriate that you're telling me what it's like. I don't care. I don't care. I didn't say it's the only solution. No, you also said that you, one, assume that I'm missing an angle on immigration, okay, an angle that I'm not missing on. You assumed that the Democratic Party's solution, which is white nativist, right-wing immigration bills that they're writing as alongside the Republican Party is the adequate solution to this problem. It's not. It's only going to worsen the problem. If that's not the solution that you think is the apt one, why are you defending it? That's literally not what I said. I think it's fine that the U.S. is making their border policy more rigid. There's a serious underground economy trafficking migrants. The U.S. making their border policy more rigid unironically helps the fucking underground economy trafficking migrants. That is my point. And I don't think you're understanding that. Okay? This is the silliest way to backtrack on your point. I don't know why we're still debating this issue. We're going to move on for the sake of your own, I mean, look at this. Look. Kamala Harris, a radical liberal who would raise taxes, take guns away and health insurance, and explode the size of power of the federal government. She wants to recreate America in the image of what's happening in the streets of Portland and Seattle. We won't give her the chance. That's what Liz Cheney said in August 11, 2020. I quote retweeted it yesterday. I said, love that the Kamala campaign is doing an event with this person. Liberals love laughing at Trump when he brings up Tulsi Gabbard on stage like she's going to siphon votes from Dems, but then will declare this move by their own campaign as brilliant in the same breath. It's objectively stupid. It's stupid in the exact same fucking ways that the other move is stupid, right? Another thing I brought up in terms of about the Kamala Harris campaign with Liz Cheney was Kamala Harris is currently talking alongside Liz Cheney, celebrating Dick Cheney's endorsement instead of changing course on the objectively unpopular neocon policies of the current admin she's supposed to replace. Stopping Israel is not only the moral imperative, it is also popular. And yet, nobody cares. Everyone keeps pointing to like how low in the interests of the American voters Israel actually is. When that should be my argument. Yeah, it's low, which is why you can change trajectory without incurring any sort of penalties in an effort to legitimately bring new voters to your side in much larger numbers. But nobody listens to me, okay? What do I fucking know? After all, I'm just some dumb fucking Twitch streamer. What do I know? What do I know? God damn, dude. Holy shit.